3 is going up against another first-person war game, Battlefield 3. I'm familiar with none of them. Okay, it's been 95 days since the U.S. lost its top credit rating. We need to do more to get it back. All right, in the days after 9/11, President George W. Bush made Osama bin Laden one of the most wanted men in the world.
I want justice. And there's an old poster out west, as I recall, that said, wanted, dead or alive.
Nearly 10 years later, his capture and death was the culmination of one of the most intense manhunts in American history.
I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of al-Qaeda, and a terrorist who's responsible for the murder of thousands of innocent men, women, and children.
Well, the men who carried out the mission were American Navy SEALs, known as SEAL Team 6. It is the world's most elite fighting force. Chuck Pfarrer is a former SEAL Team 6 member who says he spoke to the men who took out Osama bin Laden that night. He's out front tonight with their story in a new book out today called SEAL Target Geronimo, the inside story of the mission to kill Osama bin Laden. All right, wonderful to see you and appreciate your taking the time, Chuck. So I want to start first with the controversy. You came out with this book. You've talked to the SEALs. That's what you say. They're not supposed to talk today. Colonel Tim Nye, Public Affairs Officer at U.S. Special Operations Command, said, this book is a fabrication. You, being he, describes events and locations that are factually incorrect. The Obama administration is taking you on this.
Good
correct?
For them.
Incorrect? Did you make anything up?
You know, my sources are boots on the ground and people who weren't on the ground but know what happened. And if it's a compare story situation, well, which administration story am I supposed to believe? The 45-minute firefight, the crashed helicopter. I mean, my sources were the guys who were there and doing it.
And some of the differences are, it was the 45-minute firefight was the official story the American people were told the day after. You're saying it was 90 seconds, which is amazing.
Yes.
And there are other differences when you say the men came in from the roof rather than the ground. But the differences, as I see them, are not enough to show some massive government conspiracy to cover up. I'm wondering why they're coming after you so harshly.
I don't think it's a cover-up. I think what happened is, after the operation, the president made his statement, and it should have ended there. Now, whether or not it was appropriate for national security reasons to come out and admit the operation, that's another thing. He made his statement, that was great, and it should have ended there. But the information started to leak from politicians of every stripe who were happy to put forward everything they knew, which was fragmentary and incomplete and incorrect.
So who did you talk to of the SEALs, SEAL Team 6? How many did you talk to that were there? Tell us about the sources.
Digging into this, I had to deconflict stories of guys that were on the ground. I had to deconflict stories that were being fed to me that just weren't making any sense. For example, the insertion helicopter crashes on insertion. Look, we planned for something like that.
That's right.
You ground fire, that could happen. Well, what would happen in that case, though, why wouldn't the second helicopter land on the principal piece of real estate, the top of the building? Why would it divert outside a 20-foot wall and put the guys out? That was one of the first alarm bells that went off in my head. Totally wrong. So I think what happened is the administration lost control of this story, then clamped down on it, leaving these half-facts out there, and they metastasized into this story of a ground-up assault where a man was shot in his bedroom after a 45-minute operation. That's not what happened.
So, and as you say, from what you know from the SEALs, it took 90 seconds. You talk about 2 SEALs going into Osama bin Laden's bedroom. He reached for his weapon. They shot him immediately. How did they feel when they did that? What did they tell you?
Well, I don't think feeling really had much to do with it. These guys go in. When they go in, they are just on in the moment, in the second. They have to be, because that's what it takes to survive in these situations. You know what? The 90 seconds that I've computed this operation took, and from what my information is, that's more in keeping to what a SEAL Team 6 operation is. You hit them hard, you hit them fast, and it's over before they can react.
The Stealth Hawk was the helicopter used. Its systems went down in a 1,000,000 to 1 chance, is how you describe it, the one that crashed. They tried to destroy most of it.
Yes.
But you report in here, and I wanted to ask you about this because this is really important, that the Pakistanis were so mad that they auctioned off the remains to the Chinese.
That's correct.
So that they could see the technology, and then let the Iranians and the North Koreans see it.
Absolutely.
That's
just in
true?
a little, yes, just in a little victory lap. They were so incensed by this operation You know, the tail rotor was left. Look at that. That itself is a 1 in a million chance that that didn't get vaporized. It's a very important part. They showed it off. They allowed material samples to be taken, measurements. They did everything they could to promulgate the technology.
Well, that is a terrible thing. Thank you very much. We appreciate your coming in.
My pleasure.
Chuck Pfarrer's book, fascinating book, reads like the thriller novel that it is. I guess we all wish in some other life we were a SEAL. It's not right. Thanks again.
Hey, my pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Well, after a crucial budget vote, embattled Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi said today he's going to step